Hi everyone, here's what's bothering me today. So, we don't appreciate a lot of the good work that Elections Canada does here in Canada, and that's what I'd like to end this series on, with a little bit of a high note and talking a little bit more about our democracy. So, finishing up with some of our democratic things, this doesn't really belong here, but it's just a quirk that I really wanted to bring up. The Elections Commissioners of Canada, like the top two, the main one and then the deputy, they're the only two people in Canada not allowed to vote. They're actually barred from voting so long as they serve in the position because it's seen as a conflict of interest. And that's just funny to me. So let's actually talk about voting and how it happens. So already I've talked about how the way we choose our politicians and how things sit and work and which parties can end up leading majorities with only a minority of support and how that's very undemocratic. That's a bad thing. But in terms of trying to be fair in terms of the ridings across Canada, this is actually something that we do fairly well. We try and keep each riding fairly even. Does it always work? No, for a variety of reasons. But every so often, the government will review the population and expand the number of seats and representation in both the House of Commons and the Senate so as to better represent as many Canadians as possible. This is a good thing. Who helps decide some of this? Elections Canada, who we all very much appreciate, especially having seen the shit show south of the border. For those unaware, Elections Canada is a completely nonpartisan elections office, if you will, that deals with federal elections in Canada. They make sure that people know where their polling places are, that people are registered to vote, that they have a variety of ways in which to vote. Their job is to make democracy and voting incredibly easy, or at least as easy as humanly possible. They are run, when it comes to elections, almost entirely by volunteers. It is a massive effort, from the people who actually run the lists and cross off names as people show up to vote, to people providing ballots, to counting ballots along with representatives sent by the various party associations in the local ridings. It is a monumental effort, and they should absolutely be commended for it. They absolutely help keep some level of true, open, fair democracy in Canada, which is why I and other Canadians were very mad when the previous Conservative government tried to mess with them because, of course, why wouldn't they, right? Who doesn't like a good rigged election? Elections Canada serves a crucial role to make sure that all Canadians, wherever they are, if you're in a remote community or if you're in the busiest parts of downtown Toronto, your voice can be heard, but it's up to you to get out there and do it. And that's what I really want to end all of this on. As much as this was a series just pretty much being a crash course, like instead of having to spend some long course learning all the nitty gritty, here's the basics. Here's how the Constitution and government and functional workings politically of Canada work. This is, that series, because a lot of people don't know about it or they don't care, but they should, because it comes from a variety of places and it affects all of us. If you want real democracy, you have to advocate for it. That's why we had all these different pushes in the past, all these different rebellions in the past. Our constitutional history is not without challenges and violence and attempts, whether they're successful or not, at deep, meaningful reform that then usually, if it failed, resulted in more violence or more crises throughout the country. Participate in your local elections, municipal, provincial, and federal. It is up to you to get involved and to understand how this works so that you know what these politicians will do, how they'll do it, and crucially, how to fight back against it. Use the system against itself. Oh, hey, we have to be members of a party to choose people? Gee, I wonder why the Green Party had record membership to try and elect a Democratic Socialist as the leader. You can do this for other parties. Liberal, Conservative, NDP, etc. In terms of knowing how your democracy works, you can then begin to maybe figure out, if these are the polling places, this is where we can set up food stands and give free food to young people if they actually vote and prove that they voted. You can participate in your democracy more fully by going and volunteering. It is up to you to make democracy work. it's not just about the ballot, it's about everything else that goes into it. And the fact that there are so many Canadians who don't realize this, and we wonder why the situation doesn't get better and why politicians don't seem to represent us, when the fix is right here for us. If you want to pursue electoral reform, this could be your avenue. And the fact that so many Canadians don't recognize this and don't know about it is absolutely what's bothering me today.